Welcome to another video, and as you can see, we have got a 121 kill game with the Turner SMLE semi-automatic assault rifle. And in this video, I'm going to talk through the benefits and drawbacks of the Turner SMLE when you are using it during a game, and then I'm going to talk about this game in particular, as well as the map Devastation and how you want to play this, including some of the key power positions which you will see me using within this video. But as per usual, if you want to see the specializations I am using, check out the playlist which I have created. It's in the playlist section or on the home page, and there's 4 videos there, one for each class in Battlefield 5, and I'll talk through my choices for the best specializations in the game. Of course, these are not the best in the game, these are my own opinion. However, this might inform you to be able to make a better decision, and obviously leave a comment if there is a preferred choice you may choose depending on your playstyle. Now, before we begin to talk about the exact pros and cons of the Turner SMLE, there's one key thing that needs to be highlighted, and that is the specialization tree path which you are going to choose. And this is because you can either go for the detachable magazine side, which gives you obviously 10/11 bullets in the magazine, or you can go for the stripper clip route, which will give you 20 bullets within obviously the clip. And as you can see in this video, I'm using the detachable magazines with 10 to 11 bullets. So as you'll know, reloading detachable magazines is much quicker than reloading the stripper clips or individual bullets, of course, if you haven't got enough space to reload a 5-round stripper clip. And now you might think, of course, 20 bullets gives you a lot more rounds and a lot more power to be able to take out a bigger and larger group of enemies within a shorter space of time. However, this will cause you to be overly aggressive, and then when you do come to reload, you have to now reload for more than 2 times the amount you would have to reload for the detachable magazines, because the general reload time of stripper clips is lower than the magazine, and obviously you have to reload 4 lots of 5 stripper clips into the gun, as well as then individual bullets if you're on an odd amount of bullets. And you know, overall this just makes you more susceptible to being caught out and dying while reloading, because it just takes way too long, and because you have more ammo, you get the feeling that you can be overly aggressive, and this will get you killed. Whereas using the detachable magazines with 10 bullets, it makes your time management much better, because you know you're reloading more often than when you would have the 20 rounds and the stripper clips. But as a result, because you know you have to reload so often, you aren't going to be playing so aggressive with it, and therefore you're going to take your time using cover, etc., when reloading between clips and rounds and the magazines, and this should keep you alive in the long run. And if you want to put it in the most simplest terms, using the magazines, which reloads 10 to 11 bullets much quicker than 20 rounds of stripper clips, you can therefore put more rounds per minute through the gun using detachable magazines than you can using the stripper clips. So yeah, you can fire 20 rounds off with the stripper clips super fast, but you can fire off 20 plus rounds in just as much time as it would take you to fire those 20 rounds off, reload them, and start firing again. So, you know, ultimately you have got a higher fire rate or higher rounds per minute with the detachable magazines, and it's got a quicker reload. So it's just, that is why I've gone for that choice. So as for the benefits of this gun, it's quite similar to most of the semi-automatic guns in the game in terms of its damage output being 3 bullets from that close to medium range, with longer ranges dropping off to 4 bullets, as well as having a great bullet velocity, which of course will increase its time to kill, because obviously bullets are hitting the target quicker, as well as having a fairly quick reload time in comparison to obviously the same majority of the other semi-automatic guns in the game. However, what might be the Turner SMLE's biggest benefit may also be its biggest downfall. It is one of the semi-automatic guns in the game with the least amount of vertical and horizontal recoil, and this makes it absolutely perfect and really good for long range, because it allows you to keep the sight on the target, you know, and hit multiple shots on the target consistently and very quick, because you haven't got to pull down against vertical recoil to keep your sight on target to fire the next round. The gun automatically pulls the sight down straight onto the target because there's so minimal vertical recoil, and you will see that a few times in this video. Of course, Devastation is a close quarters map. However, this is its biggest benefit. However, this actually annoys me in play, because the gun is so accurate that it often makes you inaccurate. And my reasoning for this is because the gun is so accurate, you feel like you don't have to use your thumb on the right thumbstick so much on the controller, because the gun's so accurate, you don't have to move it to account for recoil. You're not pulling against recoil with the right thumbstick. And so when you come up against a target, for example, someone using a light and stock with a ZK and then therefore moving around very quick, your reaction times can be at a disadvantage, because obviously you don't expect to need to move that right thumbstick because the gun's so accurate, and therefore you're slower to move that stick when you do come up against a very quick target. Not only that, the lack of this gun having any horizontal recoil is obviously something to consider as well, because if you have bad accuracy with, for example, any gun with horizontal recoil, where the gun moves left to right quite a bit, you will know that if you've got a moving target, sometimes even if you aren't that accurate, the gun and the recoil will hit a bullet or two on the target which you're aiming at, because obviously the bullets are firing with the recoil pattern left to right. And therefore this gun means you have to be even more accurate because there's no horizontal recoil. Therefore you're not going to hit a lucky shot or two if your aim is off, and so that is why this gun can be quite annoying. You need to be very accurate with it, and it's very hard to track or sometimes to hit moving targets with it. And for that reason, and you can see in every single clip in this video, that is why I am trying to fire using a trigger finger and firing rounds through the gun as fast and as quick as I possibly can, because if the target starts to move after you fired that first bullet, of course it becomes very hard to track the target. Now the last thing to say very quickly about the gun is obviously the sight which I've chosen to use. I have gone for the reflex sight, and this is simply because the iron sight isn't very clean and isn't clear enough for tracking targets, which obviously is already a disadvantage for the gun. And the 3x scope, the vertical bar obviously on the reticle within the scope is a bit too thick, which makes it very hard to see and hit targets consistently at long range, when the main advantage this gun brings is its accuracy at range. So the 3x scope therefore doesn't help you in that department, and that therefore leaves the reflex sight as the next best option. Now the next thing to talk about is obviously this game in particular, how I'm playing it, where I'm finding all the kills, and what power positions I'm using. And of course, if you couldn't tell by now, in this game I'm finding a hell of a lot of kills on C flag. I have already talked about in previous videos one of the main power positions, or rather power routes for this game, being from that's that route that goes along E flag through the buildings towards D flag, overlooking D flag, and then through to obviously the main entrance on C, which is in front of me there. However, in this video, the majority of enemies were constantly attacking C flag. It is the center of the map, so it is kind of like one massive power position. Whether you're defending the flag or attacking the flag, enemies are always drawn to this position because there is a flag there. They're either going to be attacking it or defending it, and so this is always a good place, no matter what, to find enemies in. No matter how this different type of game is playing out or where the enemies are rotating to, you'll always be able to find kills in this area. And you'll simply will have seen me get the majority of kills on the other side of C flag, where there's like a head glitch on some boards. If it does come up again, I will say. But basically C flag is the main power position I have used, and it just allows you to see the enemies coming from all directions. You can see them coming from A flag straight onto C. They can come from B straight into C. They can come from D. They come from all directions. It is just the main central hub where you want to be able to stay around and use as much as possible. And not only that, C, if you do need to run and move to any of the other flags in the game, C is within an equal and fair distance to all the flags around it. So if you use this as your main hub to find kills, as soon as you need to move out to a different flag, you've only got a short distance to run, or an equal distance to run to all of them. Whereas if you're staying, for example, on D flag and all of the enemies are suddenly on B, you've got to run all the way from D through C to B. Whereas if you stay on C, you're only running a short distance. I'm over-explaining that a bit, but I'm sure you get the idea there. And that is ultimately one of the key ways to obviously maximize your kills. Of course, you don't want to be wasting any time during games. You want to be finding and getting as many kills as possible, and so you don't want to be running around wasting time just running around and hardly finding anyone, or things rotating. At least using a power position like this, you've got an equal distance to everything. You're at the central hub where enemies are always generally going to be, and then of course you're wasting little time when you do eventually need to run to another location to find enemies. But yeah, that pretty much covers all of it. Of course, that's pretty much all I did in this game was stick around C flag with one of the main power positions. The enemies kept coming here, and obviously you can see I managed to get 121 kills. There's another minute and a half left of this video, so I'm going to let it play out. But of course, if you haven't subscribed yet and you are a regular viewer of the channel, please consider subscribing. If we haven't hit 500 subscribers yet, and obviously please help me reach that goal, and if we have reached that goal by the time this video is released, then consider subscribing so that if anyone does decide to unsubscribe, I can at least stay above that mark for a little while longer. And of course, obviously leave a like, and you know, any comment, anything you want to ask about the game, I'm more than happy to reply and help you, because I've obviously played the game for so many years since it released with the beta, and I can help you out and give my opinion on certain things. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Yeah, do all the things, and we'll see you on the next one.
Here are the coordinates. We need a JP2 airstrike there.
Keep this up. We are almost there. Be aware that objective Charlie has been lost.
I'll get the future.